1944 brought one of the most critical points in the European theater of war. Allied forces were pushing back the Germans, but didn't have enough supplies to continue moving their armies. The entire operation depended on a daring mission, which was known as the Red Ball Express. Nathan Whitman was with the U.S. Army. Victor Kotula was in the German Panzer Division. Each met the enemy on the battlefront. June 6, 1944, D-Day. Nearly 200,000 troops of the Allied armies establish a beachhead on the coast of France at Normandy. It takes weeks of heavy fighting and heavy losses until the Allies are ready to move in to reach their goal of taking France back from the Germans. One of the soldiers of the 112th Combat Engineers who was witness to the carnage at Omaha Beach is Nathan Whitman.
But we lost a lot of people, a lot of men there. God, I'll tell you. The water was red with blood. That's what's in my mind, that blood. Jesus, something.
6 weeks after D-Day, Allied forces fighting in Normandy begin a massive offensive. They must push beyond the bitterly contested beachhead and keep up a momentum across France and into Germany. With the beaches cleared of enemy activity, the Allies bring in more men and supplies, including a unit to handle delivery and distribution. But the travel routes are still vulnerable to attacks by the Luftwaffe. The Germans also have supply units to rush ammunition to the Normandy battle zones. Victor Kotula is with Hitler's Panzer Corps in Normandy.
We never were short of ammunition. They may be lying 40 kilometers back behind the front line, yeah? And then just call and they come, deliver, and they... No problem with that, no. We were all veterans, all experienced. So I was in a 21st Panzer Division, yeah, 24th Regiment, and when the invasion started, the 6th of June, 1944, we moved from Falaise to Caen.
Allied Air Force planes locate and bomb German positions along a narrow front at St. Lo, their next location to attack the Germans with a powerful drive by infantry and armored units. But to continue at this pace, the supply convoys must keep up with the fighting men. Moving through the towns, American troops are on their guard for German snipers. Even a dead German is enough to cause a soldier to proceed with caution. As the Germans retreat, they set up holding positions to slow down the Allies.
We didn't have much problem because when we move mostly in a forest or in a like field, you know, where the plane can't spot it us. We always went, we didn't move on the main roads, no. We was moving on a cover-up plate, you know. The German army was getting weak. See, we lost so many planes, we lost things. We didn't have much. If we called for help, nobody came.
Spearhead units fan out through the French countryside, capturing villages in the south. But it is not without facing fire from a tenacious enemy. In just 2 days since the operation started, there is a complete breakout from the Normandy beaches. The Americans advanced 25 miles in 36 hours.
As a soldier, you don't think about the retreat and things. You just do what you have to do. You don't think about the retreat. That's a war. You can't even imagine. You're in a fighting, yeah? Fire from all over the place and things. You only think about yourself, your life. See? You don't think about the retreat.
General George, a tough and controversial combat leader, he is the ideal choice to push the limits of his fighting force. He said, within 3 days, his armored units have conquered as far east as Le Mans, rapidly catching up with the retreating German armies. On August 6th, the Germans launch a desperate counterattack to cut off Patton's unstoppable army. But confusion and lack of communication.
The American, you know, was breaking, coming close and close, so we was backing up. Allies are, say, they took over like Cannes, Sanglo, and we was backing up. They surround us, and we have to give up.
It was very rapid, because they were running away from us. We overran them. That's what we did. We overran them.
Meanwhile, the Germans are pounded unmercifully by air bombings, artillery, and armor. They retreat in stunned disorder through what becomes known as the Falaise Gap. The commanders desperately order their troops to hold open the gap long enough to get their panzer divisions through so they can take a stand at the critical location of the Seine River. While 8 infantry and 2 panzer divisions are captured by the Allies, over 49,000 combat troops manage to escape. Now Patton's army races to the Seine.
I was a battalion motor sergeant. We had them on the run 5 or 6 miles out of Paris, and they just left their equipment and everything and took off. I'm telling you, they threw down their weapons and ran. The infantry that we took with us just continued on and took the prisoners. And we repaired the roads and the bridges and that Autobahn because that's what we were going to use.
Finally, the Germans in retreat reach the Seine. They're in no condition to fight back.
When it's hard to explain when you're on a front line, the soldier is on a front line, because you know it's danger, yeah? You pray, you are afraid, it is tough, you know, front line. We didn't have much peace.
Numerous spearheads surge across western France, at times gaining as much as 50 miles in one day. Chartres and Orléans fall, and beyond the Seine, Paris.
Wonder how the French greeted us? They loved us, they really did. They would give us their last egg, which we never seen, but we wouldn't take anything off of them. They went all out for us. They went crazy. They celebrated. I think they're still celebrated.
Just when the Army's barreling ahead, Patton's gas supply runs out. The whole advance comes to a halt. Patton orders part of his reserve force to drain their tanks and transfer their gas to attacking units. But this Band-Aid procedure only brings limited supplies. Now, for the first time, the Allies experience the type of supply limitations that has plagued the German army. There are virtually no stocks between Normandy and the small army depots 300 miles away. Each of the Allied army units expects priority for gasoline and oil. Tension develops between Patton and other army commanders because each wants a full share of supply and transport. No general can win on this battlefield without receiving his delivery of material. Without ammunition or fuel, the soldiers don't advance. The retaking of France is now in jeopardy. August 1944, the Allied push across France gets bogged down as armored divisions run out of gasoline. To get the attack moving again, a last-minute supply line is cobbled together by the Allied command. The Army Transportation Corps organizes 141 truck companies, consisting of over 3,000 men, into the Red Bull Express. Their plan calls for a looped one-way traffic route stretching across northwest France from the supply depots to the fighting fronts and back again.
It was a whole battalion of trucks and all black soldiers running that express. They ran to and fro, hauling. Our orders were to unload them as quickly as possible and send them back. Feed them, give them supplies, food. All the gas came in 5-gallon cans. And we had to furnish our own people to unload the trucks when they got there, which didn't take long. And we dumped them in and give them the cans back, and they'd go back for more. By the time they went back and got more, we were 20, 30 miles away from there. It takes a lot of gas for a tank. And as we moved forward, they would move forward with us with their camps. And they did a great job for us. I can't say one thing about them. They lost a lot of people, too.
Traffic control points are established in all major towns to record the movement of convoys, check their destination, and determine their cargo. Supporting services have their job, too. Thousands of road markers are placed along 800 miles of roadway. The Signal Corps strings endless miles of telephone and telegraph wires. Replenished with gas and ammunition, the American armored columns again surged forward.
We just had to be careful ourselves that we didn't go too fast. And that was one thing, Patton, he always went too fast. He'd go until he ran out of gas. I'm not kidding, that's the way he operated. Always advanced. We've never retreated one time in all the time I was with him. We were always forward.
By August 29th, Patton's Third Army has crossed the Marne, capturing Rheims and Chalon-sur-Marne. Patton now aims his armored spearheads toward Verdun, Saint-Mihiel, and Commercy. But almost immediately, this new momentum by advancing armies puts new strains and demands on the Red Ball Express. Relief drivers are urgently needed, and they are recruited from every outfit on the continent, even infantry units. Each truck is driven around the clock. Drivers fight exhaustion, and accidents increase. By August 29th, the Red Ball Express reaches peak performance. Almost 6,000 trucks delivered 12,000 tons of supplies to the forward areas. Columns of German prisoners marching away from battle can see the trucks that have hastened their defeat. While the Red Ball Express convoys work without let-up, a crucial meeting of Allied commanders takes place at Chartres to determine disposition of supplies. General Eisenhower wants the major portion to go to General Hodge's First Army. Patton protests that his main force has been halted at the Meuse River for 2 days because of insufficient supplies. He wants more fuel so his tanks can break for the German border. He persuades Eisenhower to increase his allotments. His reason is widely quoted. "My men can eat their belts, but my tanks gotta have gas." Patton's Third Army thrusts armored columns across the Meuse River, capturing Verdun and Commercy. With astounding speed, they ford the Moselle River near Nancy and Metz.
There was a lot of dissension between Patton and a few high-ranking officers. They had some arguments about him moving too fast and getting into trouble. He would steal supplies off of another general, you know. Convoy of trucks would stop and want to know where such and such an outfit is, and he would tell them right down the road about 2 miles, turn left, that's his. I would have done the same thing. If a guy couldn't take care of his supplies, that's not our fault. He should have sent people out to guide him in to where he was. That's what we did with Patton.
Regardless of Patton's unorthodox methods, his armies continue to blast German positions and push the enemy back.
We retreat more, yeah. No, naturally, because they was really pushing us after, you know. We was backing up fast, yeah. The longest time we stay, Caen and Saint-Lô. After that, we was only gonna move. We stay maybe overnight, the next day or the next night again move back. See, we was on a move. So we were very weak, getting very weak.
German soldiers find that the countryside is becoming a death trap with French snipers. They have to patrol and question everyone they see. It is a time-consuming process which slows down their retreat and hobbles their defenses. The British and the American First Army strike hard toward Belgium, devouring supplies with an insatiable appetite. The Red Ball Express drivers bear the brunt of the stepped-up Allied advances. Within 1 month, over 6,000 vehicles are serviced for major repairs from accidents. Replacements flow in, and tired and exhausted drivers are sent back to hospitals and rest camps.
Every time we lose somebody, we get a replacement. And I don't care how good the replacements are. They're not like your buddies that worked with you, went to school with you, and died alongside of you. They said that we had about 3,000 guys left. That's a lot, it's a big loss. That's not counting the replacements that we lost too. The second day, we went on through the Eiffel Tower and the gate, and just like you see in the movies, real small cobblestone towns, roads, streets, houses close together. They liked us, they really loved us. Tried to help us all they could.
Germans who return to their homeland are shocked by what they find.
You as a soldier, you don't know much about what's going on. We didn't have no much news what was going on in Germany. War is one enemy fight with another enemy and to destroy the one another. And the same with the soldier who is fighting on the line, the same things. You don't think about if you win the war or lose the war, no. You don't think about casualties and, you know, you don't have time for that. As a soldier, you just fighting. You have to fight, yeah? We never think about that, and we never care about that. Oh.
By September 5th, the original mission of the Red Ball Express is officially completed. Over 89,000 tons of supplies have been delivered to frontline armies, an average of 7,400 tons a day. In 10 short days, this unplanned, improvised organization far surpasses the highest hopes of its planners. It provides the energy for Patton's race across France and enables Allied forces to strike at the Germans while they are still confused and disorganized. By winning the Battle of Supply, it helps win the Battle of France. Victor Kotula would be taken prisoner by the Americans at the Falaise Gap and sent to Southampton for the duration of the war. Nathan Whitman would continue on with the U.S. Army and help in destroying the Remagen Bridge on the Rhine River. The famed Red Ball Express would be continued beyond its initial mission in the northwest of France. The route is extended eastward through Versailles, and by the end of the operation in mid-September 1944, it has delivered over 135,000 tons to the Allied forces. The Red Ball Express turns out to be an enormously successful gamble, and its motto becomes a part of American history: the fastest with the mostest.